What's up, guys? We're in a different setup today. I'm on the road traveling, so I figured I'd get a video done real quick while we had some time. But the topic of today's video really comes from experience I remember in college. My roommate would always kind of pick on me or make fun of me about how fast I would be going through my meals. I'd be sitting there, I'd have everything set up, and I'd just be cooking through whatever, meal was laid out in front of me, while my roommate, usually sitting on the other side of the table, was on his phone scrolling through videos or on YouTube trying to find that one video to watch or that game to play while he was enjoying his meals. We both thought we were eating to us in the right way, and reflecting on that after college, I thought it was a funny experience because it just emphasized how we had different approaches to the same thing, and a lot of people do as well. I saw eating food as just another task to complete to get to the more important things during the day. But for him, eating was more of a sit-down time and reflection time where he could unwind from the events going on in his day. And that was when he took the time to enjoy the moment that he was in. This got me thinking, though. Our eating habits reflected different approaches to life and work itself. Today we'll be talking about that very same topic, the tempo at which we do things. Having a fast-paced internal tempo or a slow tempo can affect the way you succeed at different enterprises, for good or bad each. First, let's speed things up by talking about the fast-paced internal tempo. Research conducted by the University of California found that faster decision makers are often more productive and can better capitalize on opportunities that arise among the workforce. This is because other people come to you and they want answers quickly, and if you can give those to them, then you're seen as someone with higher value, and therefore when opportunities come to reward value, you'll probably be first on the list. Here's a tip for that. Set strict deadlines for your decisions. Being able to decide small things quickly keeps the momentum going, and it doesn't hold you up or use too much brain power that you can put towards something else. Here's a practical tip for that. Set strict deadlines with decisions. I like to use the 2-minute rule. If I can't decide what I'm going to do on a small task within 2 minutes, I'm going to take the first available option. For example, if I can't decide where I'm going to eat and I'm looking at my maps and it takes longer than 2 minutes, I'm just going to pick the first place at that point that's right in front of me and go with it. And a lot of times I might not be happy with the food that I picked, but other times I might find spots that I actually secretly really enjoyed afterwards because I just went with the easiest thing available. But in the end, you have to realize that picking a place for lunch doesn't matter as much as choosing the next big investment to make. Being able to have those decisions made quickly and easily without a lot of brain power sets that aside in reserve for those bigger decisions. The other point with this is rapid iteration and innovation. Elon Musk states, if you're not failing, you're not innovating fast enough. You need to actually strive for failure. You need to adopt the fail fast and learn faster mindset. Being able to understand that when you launch a project and you gather feedback from it, if you're not actually using that feedback and you're not relying on constant change for the better, then you're not taking enough risk. Taking forever to decide on a major decision for your business is going to keep you stagnant. You have to be willing to break that larger decision up into smaller day-to-day tasks and then be able to make those decisions quickly. And in the end, when you made enough of those that are easier, you'll be able to see where the bigger picture is going, and it'll naturally guide you to that end result. You should always be seeking to improve in an area rather than perfect it in isolation. Having feedback and response that allows you to make changes is what keeps you forward and competes with the best things out there. You don't want to spend all your time perfecting an idea or working on something that you think is new, but you're doing it in a vacuum and somebody else already had the idea 5 years ago. Now that we've covered that, let's slow things down for a second and see the benefits of a more deliberate, slow-paced approach. The first main point I want to make about people who have a slower-paced mindset and ideology to things is strategic planning. A Harvard Business Review article highlights that companies engaging in deliberate, slow-paced critical thought or strategic planning tend to outperform those that react hastily to market changes. Think about investing, right? You see your stock go down one day, and it might have gone up 5% in the last week or something crazy like that. But it's going to go down 1%. And again, just due to how loss affects us, you're going to see that drop and you're going to say, well, I need to sell. Even though in the end, you've still profited 4%. So it's worth keeping your money in there to ride things out a lot of the time. But we react too quickly sometimes to be able to think about if the decision we're making is the best. I get stuck in this a lot, right? Because you might go on social media, as I've stated in previous videos, and see a lot of great ideas for new side hustles or new businesses to start. But if you don't actually take the time to work deeply on one idea first, you're not actually going to see results. For example, you might give dropshipping a try for 3 or 4 weeks, and you might think that that's been long enough, but you actually need a few months at the minimum to get going in an industry like that. And just because you're not seeing results in that time, you might want to naturally conclude that it's not the best business for you to pursue, but you also might be right on the brink of finding gold. So deciding if you're truly in a state of burnout or not can be critical to deciding if you want to keep going with an idea. A study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology stated individuals who take the time to reflect and plan are less likely to experience burnout and more likely to achieve long-term success. So in order to do that, I would recommend following a few tips. The first of which I had is incorporate breaks into your schedules. Use techniques like Pomodoro method, work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. It's pretty easy to master that, and give yourself time to think and reflect deeply, and then have some time to disengage before you move on to the next big decision. It's kind of similar to hitting a refresh button for your brain, where you can move clearly and freely into the next big thing without being tired from the last 5 decisions. And no, a 5-minute break doesn't mean a 5-minute Netflix binge. Remember to keep your breaks practical and short so that you can stay fresh and not get more tired. On the larger scale though, making those big decisions relies on your ability to be strategic and have those plans made. You can still move fast through decisions, but your strategic planning should be a slow, long-based approach so you can see all the major milestones you need to accomplish and put that critical thought in to ask yourself what the major milestones are. If you don't know that taking 4 weeks to build a website and develop ad campaigns and all that are critical to e-commerce, you're going to naturally just see yourself failing because you don't see money coming in, instead of realizing that that was a major part of the plan and you're actually right on track. If you're not able to cross off the objectives or see the objectives, or even worse yet, not even know what the objectives are, you're never going to want to continue working on something because you're not going to be sure if it's the right thing to be working on or not. First of all, take your major goals and work backwards. Where do you want to be with your life? What are the best businesses to get you there? What are the actual steps you need to run these businesses? You have to do research. It has to take time. And then you can move fast accomplishing those objectives. But your objectives could be a wild goose chase from the actual money if you're not exactly sure what you're doing and just rush into something. So being slow in this case is a good benefit to have. So whether it's fast or slow, it seems like both of these have major uses in developing your new idea. So how do you strike the right balance between these two tempos? A report by McKinsey & Company, a major consulting firm in the US, emphasizes that the most successful leaders are those who can adapt their pace to the needs of the moment, demonstrating both urgency and patience as required. I want you to think about what McKinsey does as a corporation. They're typically tending to businesses they don't have a lot of knowledge about, but they're really skilled at consulting these businesses in terms of a well-practice and a procedural consulting to get where they need to go. They look at the system itself and the major functions of that system, and they're able to optimize that system based on the things that they see as faulty from an outsider's perspective. So yes, they have to be quick at allowing the company to make changes so that they're not losing money, because they wouldn't come to a consulting company unless they foresee an issue. But they also need to take time and think about the major system as a whole, and whether or not making this change is going to make it worse before it gets better, or if this change is even necessary to begin with. But you need that time to critically think, as well as the ability to make the decisions quickly. Assess the decision and assess the situation. For high stakes decisions, take your time. For routine tasks, speed it up. It's like driving. Sometimes you need to accelerate and sometimes you need to cruise. Cruising doesn't necessarily mean slowing down or slamming on the brakes. It just means realizing where you're at is fine, and you need to continue that method too. A lot of people forget about that because they just either see going faster or going slower. But sometimes, like e-commerce I mentioned, working on the one thing, as long as it aligns with your goals, is what you should be doing, and you should continue that speed. The other point with this is identify your natural rhythm. Are you more productive in the morning or evening? Schedule your most important tasks during your peak time. Typically, most people peak between 9 to 11 a.m. because their brain's warmed up at that time and they've done a few minimal tasks to get themselves going. So that's probably your major time to hit that. A lot of people also see a second wind of energy later in the day. Maybe they go work out during that time from 4 to 6, or they find some slight productive tasks to do around the house. Find the time that works best for you. Use productivity tools to track your work patterns. Apps like Rescue Time can help you understand when you're most effective. I use that a few times a week. And remember, there's no one size fits all, right? If you're a night owl, don't force yourself into 5 a.m. miracle morning routine. Save the early bird nonsense for the early birds. The main point I want you to take away from this is the way that you choose to tempo yourself toward your tasks will directly affect the outcome of them. But some tasks are more important than others. The things that you know are going to be big strategic objectives and big decisions to make, take your time. Double or triple check your thing. But remember to get feedback from other people too, and help from people that are already on your team, because it saves you time and you can avoid this nonsense. But on the other hand, the tasks that are minimal, day-to-day things that you have pretty much already set up for yourself, and you need to decide between red or blue or black and white or even or odd. Make those decisions quickly, because a lot of those times they won't really matter in the long run because there's something you already had planned to make in the first place. The next time you find yourself rushing through a task or taking it slow, ask yourself, what's the best tempo for this moment? Remember, whether you're racing to the finish line or taking the scenic route, make sure it's the right pace for you. If it doesn't feel right, stay with what works the best for you, and you'll never really have to second guess yourself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and the notification bell for more insights on your path to success. I'm Caleb Thomas, and I'll see you next time.